Hey friends, we at Checkly enable you to monitor your sites and APIs from around the globe on a schedule. And we just released a new feature, parallel scheduling, that reduces the time to issue detection and also helps you, if you get an alert, to figure out if you have a global or regional issue. If that sounds good, let's go. We're here in my Checkly dashboard, and as you see, I have 3 checks already set up. I have a browser check running every 10 minutes, and I have 2 API checks that are running from the same locations. They're running from Ireland, North California, and Mumbai. And yet the shown results here are looking very, very differently. Why is that? These 2 API checks monitoring our own Checkly API share the same configuration except for their scheduling strategy. So let's have a look. When we navigate to the scheduling settings of this API check, we'll find that it's scheduled to be run every 5 minutes, and the scheduling strategy is round robin. And here we have the defined locations: North California, Ireland, and Mumbai. But what does it actually mean, round robin? Let's go to the results. When we inspect the previous monitoring results, we'll find that the check runs are indeed running every 5 minutes, but they're only executed from a single location. This is the round-robin scheduling strategy. At 3:19, it was the turn of Mumbai, and 5 minutes before that, Checkly checked from North California, and before that, it checked from Ireland, and then we're back at Mumbai at 3:04. With the round-robin scheduling strategy, at every scheduled check run, there's only a single location that is testing and monitoring your API or websites. If you're interested in only looking at the result of a single location, you can always go to this dropdown, choose Northern California, and here we now see the results of all the check runs coming from North California. And you might have guessed it now, even though this check is scheduled to run every 5 minutes, Checkly now checks this API endpoint from North California only every 15 minutes, because it's rotating all the locations when it's running the check runs. As a result of using round robin, it could be that some issues or outages go unnoticed depending on how many locations you are rotating in your check runs. The more locations you have in your round robin rotation, the longer it takes until the same location is checked again. And the round robin scheduling strategy is also responsible for these stairs that we see here in the dashboard, because the Checkly API is based in Ireland and the latency is different depending on where we call this API from. So what's the alternative? For critical global checks, we recommend to use the new parallel scheduling feature. In this check, when we now go to the scheduling options, you see that this uses parallel runs. When we now schedule this check to run every 5 minutes, all locations are run when this check is executed. So when we look at the monitoring results, we see that every 5 minutes, all 3 locations are checked. And if one of these locations fails, it will trigger an alert. So we're checking all locations all the time using parallel scheduling. So if you're shipping globally, parallel scheduling allows you to reduce the MTTD, the mean time to detect of an issue in any location. It helps you to nail down the scope of a problem, because with parallel scheduling, you can now be certain if you have a global or regional issue when you receive an alert. Also, you reduce the risk of missing short regional outages because you're checking all locations all the time. And lastly, because of this, the data and your check results will include way more location data, and the data granularity will be way better using parallel scheduling. But before you go all in and turn on parallel scheduling for all your checks, be aware that running checks with parallel locations is a little bit more expensive, because we bill every location that is testing and monitoring your APIs and websites. You can find more information about this on this pricing documentation page or on our Checkly pricing page. And there's one last point that I want to cover. If you know what we do at Checkly, you know that we believe in monitoring as code and controlling your entire monitoring setup from code. You might now ask, hey, can I configure my checks from my code base, from the command line using parallel scheduling? And let me tell you, yes, of course you can. So when you use the Checkly CLI, there's now a new run parallel option that you can use to control and set parallel scheduling for all your monitoring as code check runs. And that's all I have for you today. If you have any comments or questions, drop them below. And if you have any feedback about parallel scheduling or Checkly in general, drop into the Checkly community Slack. We're a lovely bunch. And I will talk to you very, very soon again when I show you the next Checkly features.